Our nation's retired coal miners, as Senator Manchin just spoke about, are on the brink of losing health care and retirement savings. It's within the power of Congress to pull them back. The United Mine Workers of America's health care and pension plans cover some 100,000 mine workers, about 7,000 of them living in my state, mostly in southeast Ohio. The plans were almost completely funded before the financial collapse in 2008, but the industry and its pension funds were devastated by the recession. The plan has too few assets, too few employers, and too few union workers now paying in. If Congress fails to act, thousands of retired miners would lose their health care this year, and the entire plan could fail as early as next year. This would be devastating for retired mine workers like my constituent, Norm Skinner. I met Norm in March before a Finance Committee hearing on pension plans that are under threat. Norm's a veteran. He started working as a miner for what became Peabody Coal in 1973. He worked for 22 years. He retired in 1994. For every one of those years, he earned and he contributed to his retiree health care plan and his pension plan. Since he retired, Norm has had nearly constant health challenges, not that unusual for people who work in some of the most dangerous conditions in American business. He had triple bypass surgery in 2010. 3 years later, they inserted stents. He had angioplasty. Norm told me that 60% of his colleagues at the mine have died of cancer because of the chemicals. When they closed the mine, teams of people wearing hazmat suits came in to clean it. His entire shovel crew has died of cancer. Some were in their 50s when they passed away. But now, after putting in decades in this dangerous mine, Norm is in danger of losing the health care that has kept him alive. I also met with David Dilley, who worked in the same Simcoe mine. David's also a veteran, worked for 14 years at the mine before it closed down in 1989. He was a UMWA member, even serving as president of Local 1118. For a couple of years, he serves as recording secretary still. Mining is hard, backbreaking work. It's dangerous. It's dangerous every day in the mine. It's dangerous for the air and the chemicals that mine workers ingest. They knew that when they signed up for the job, but that work has dignity. It's crucial to us and our national interest as a country. It's a dignity rooting in providing security and opportunity for your family. We used to have a covenant in this country that said, if you work hard, if you put in the hours, you contribute to your retirement and your health care, you'll be able to support yourself and your family. What you're doing is you're giving up in union negotiations. You're always giving up wages today to take care of yourself and your family in later years so the government or friends or other family members don't have to. What's more honorable than that? It's what made this country great. It's what built the middle class. So when earned benefits like collectively bargained pensions and health care can be cut, we go back on a fundamental promise our country's made to tens of millions of American workers. There's a bipartisan solution proposed by the two senators from West Virginia and supported by leaders in both parties. The bill uses the interest and the surplus from an existing source of money, the Abandoned Mines Reclamation Fund, and funnels that money into the health care and pension plan. This is a fund for reclaiming the land of retired coal mines, so it makes sense to use the surplus to support retired coal mine workers and their families. If this bipartisan legislation was brought to the floor today, it would pass with an overwhelming majority. It's time for the Senate to act. This legislation has been blocked by one Republican leader in this body. The support on Senator Wyden's and Senator Warner's and Senator Casey's and my committee seems to be unanimous. From the chairman on down, we're just looking to the Republican leader to give us a vote on this because we are absolutely certain it would pass. Miners worked in dangerous conditions their entire lives to put food on the table, to send their kids to college, to help power this country. Mr. President, I've worn in my lapel a pen given to me at a Workers' Memorial Day in April, in the late 1990s, on an April day where we were memorializing those workers who had been killed on the job in the steel industry or those workers who were injured on the job. This is a depiction of a canary in a bird cage where the mine worker, in the early 1900s, the mine worker used to take a canary down in the mines. If the canary died, because of lack of oxygen or toxic gas, the mine worker knew he had to get out of the mines. He had, in those days, no union strong enough to protect him. He had no government that cared enough to protect him. We're in that situation today, Mr. President, where it's up to us to be that canary. It's up to us to provide, to make sure those workers who have earned these pensions, who have earned this health care for themselves and in far too many cases for their widows, to step up and do the right thing. Thank you, Mr. President.